You're 9 years old, you're standing in the middle of a desert ghost town, you haven't seen your parents in days, you haven't showered in longer, there's no running water, no toilets, just 39 other kids, dirt everywhere, and a camera in your face. Suddenly, a producer tells you, you're in charge now, build your own society. And that's it. That's the whole pitch behind Kid Nation, a real reality show where CBS dumped 40 children in a fake Wild West town and told them basically, don't die.
I was like, oh my God, are we going to New Mexico to see the in the middle of nowhere, there's a Kid Nation plaque?
What followed was a televised psychological experiment that blurred the line between social experiment and straight-up child abuse. Kids cooked for 40, cleaned toilets, killed animals, broke down crying, some were injured, one drank bleach. Most were emotionally manipulated, all on national television. This wasn't just controversial. It was one of the most unethical reality shows ever made, and CBS went to disturbing lengths to cover it up. Today, we're unpacking the full story, from the kids who lived it, to the lawsuits, to the real reason Kid Nation was quietly erased from history. This is Kid Nation, and this is the story of how reality TV committed child abuse and got away with it. Kid Nation aired in 2007 during the golden age of unhinged reality television, right alongside Fear Factor, Wife Swap, and America's Next Top Trauma Victim, or whatever else Fox was doing back then. The concept was somehow even crazier than it sounds. CBS took 40 kids, ages 8 to 15, flew them out to a ghost town in New Mexico, and told them to live there unsupervised for 40 days, without parents, working bathrooms, or adults to guide them. The location was a dusty replica town called Bonanza City, a place with fake saloons, bunkhouses, and an actual outhouse. Each week, the kids were given challenges to earn rewards like food or supplies, but the real twist was that they had to govern themselves. That's right, weekly town meetings, a child-run government, elections, a literal class system, and everything was filmed. But not in a documentary kind of way. Oh no, this was a network primetime reality show, complete with intense music, confessionals, and edited story arcs. Kids were labeled villains, leaders, divas, or hard workers, just like Survivor, except these weren't adults, they were literal children. Let's talk about the most dystopian part of this whole thing, the class system. Every week, the kids were divided into 4 rigid social classes. Upper class did no work, got paid $1 per week. Merchants ran a makeshift store. Cooks made food for 40 kids. Laborers cleaned toilets, hauled water, scrubbed floors.
I figured out that it was a bad idea, but I already signed up.
It was an actual capitalist hierarchy for children. This wasn't just a background mechanic. It was central to the drama. Kids fought to rise up the ranks. Others got stuck scrubbing dishes while crying on camera. And CBS framed this as character building. It wasn't. It was child exploitation dressed up as a civics lesson. The living conditions in Bonanza City were brutal. There was no plumbing, the kids had to use outhouses. Wooden sheds with buckets that had to be emptied manually. There was no running water. They pumped it themselves and hauled it in barrels. There was no adult-prepared food. 10-year-olds cooked beans and cornbread for 40 kids on a campfire. They slept on filthy bunk beds. Many got sick. Hygiene was almost non-existent. Some didn't bathe the entire 40 days. One girl admitted she only brushed her teeth twice the entire time. Kids suffered real injuries. One child burned her face with hot grease. Another drank bleach and had to be hospitalized. Several got food poisoning from undercooked chicken. Multiple kids suffered dehydration and had to be treated off camera. None of this aired. CBS cut around the trauma. They sanitized the footage to protect their brand. The smiling host told America, "Look at these brave pioneers building a better world." Meanwhile, off camera, kids were crying, vomiting, and begging to go home. So how did CBS legally get away with putting children through this? They exploited a giant legal loophole. They didn't register the show as a TV production. Instead, they labeled Kid Nation as a summer camp. Why does that matter? Because under US law, summer camps aren't subject to the same child labor protections. That meant No on-set tutors required. No work hour limits. No therapist or child psychologist present. No labor board oversight. It was a deliberate move to dodge regulation. CBS also forced parents to sign liability waivers. These waivers gave the network full permission to film the kids, and stated that if a child was injured, CBS wasn't responsible. When lawsuits eventually came, and oh, they did, these waivers were CBS's shield. Let's go episode by episode and highlight the most disturbing moments. The kids arrive by yellow school bus. 8-year-old Jimmy is immediately overwhelmed and sobbing. The youngest children have to sleep alone in dark bunkhouses. Host Jonathan Karsh gives them a book called The Journal, supposedly written by the town's long-dead founders. This becomes their guide. The kids are handed live chickens and told to figure out dinner. A 14-year-old ends up slaughtering them on camera, while others cry in horror. One girl vomits, another refuses to eat meat for the rest of the show. A massive dust storm hits. Kids run for shelter in the saloon. Producers keep filming as children cry and cover their faces. No adults intervene. The footage is later edited for dramatic effect. The town debates whether to kill the rest of the chickens in a town hall-style vote. It turns into a bizarre morality debate. These are children. CBS frames it like Survivor, Animal Edition. Not even close to fair. Multiple kids suffer emotional breakdowns. Some try to sabotage tasks to get attention. The class system causes open rebellion. The kids start resenting leadership. After a particularly rough day, one kid confesses he hasn't seen a mirror in a month. He cries because he doesn't recognize his own face. Several ask to leave, but are guilt-tripped into staying. This isn't satire. This aired on national television. At first glance, Kid Nation looks like an innocent experiment in independence. But the emotional manipulation behind the scenes was real. Producers used sleep deprivation. Kids often stayed up working past midnight. Isolation. No contact with family, no electronics, no escape. Reward systems. The gold star system turned morality into currency. Villain editing. Kids were painted as selfish or lazy, even when they were just scared. The weekly gold star. A 2-pound trophy, supposedly worth $20,000, created toxic competition. Kids begged to be noticed. They cried when they didn't win. They measured their worth in gold. This wasn't TV magic. It was emotional engineering. Years later, former cast members began speaking out. Sophia, 14, one of the most mature kids, later said, "Sad, they didn't tell us how long it would be." Sighs, "They didn't tell us how hard it would be." Distressed, "I was terrified most nights." Mike, age 11 at the time. Exhales, sharply. It was chaos. Frustrated. You had kids breaking down, kids refusing to work. Defeated, we weren't ready. Taylor, a 10-year-old labeled as a villain, revealed, "They made me look bratty." Sighs, "I was just overwhelmed and tired." Others never spoke publicly again. The backlash was swift. Child welfare organizations condemned the show. New Mexico launched an investigation. Multiple families filed legal complaints over unsafe conditions and emotional damage. CBS buried the show. It was never renewed. It was never re-aired. It's not available on any streaming service. You can't even find a full box set. It's been erased. There was a second season planned, and it was scrapped before filming could begin. Insiders said even CBS executives were spooked by the public reaction. So, what's the legacy of Kid Nation? In recent years, it's developed a weird cult following. People re-watch it and joke about it like it was just another goofy 2000s show. But for others, it's a case study in child exploitation. Media professors now use Kid Nation to teach ethics in broadcasting. It's cited in debates about whether reality TV should be allowed to feature children at all. And honestly, it should be. Because while Kid Nation is gone, its DNA lives on. In every YouTube family prank channel, in every child influencer vlog, in every Kid React series where emotions are monetized. The question remains, how far are we willing to go for entertainment? Kid Nation isn't just a bizarre relic of 2000s TV, it's a warning. It shows us what happens when a network values spectacle over safety, views children as content, and builds a reality show on the backs of kids who can't even legally work. It tried to teach kids how to run a society. Instead, it exposed how adults will exploit the powerless for ratings. So next time a network promises a social experiment, ask, are we watching something enlightening? Or just another human being unravel for our entertainment? If you made it this far, I appreciate you.